Oh, what's good, my man of society? It is your host with the most, Shadow Look, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and are subscribed to the channel. It's absolutely free. That is how you help my channel get into the algorithm. Highly appreciate if you go ahead and do that. Now, what I wanted to discuss was one of the questions that I get asked on my channel a lot, right, through the years. My other channel, right? But I wanted to talk about it here. Is if I know about the homies, right? And what is my opinion on the homies, right? That I used to collect them. Um, you know, um, did the homies actually, pay attention to this and were collectors and stuff like that, right? Now, for those who are not aware, the homies is um, a figurine toy design, right? Out of, I guess you could call it Chicano culture, Cholo culture, whatever, right? It was created by David Gonzalez from Richmond, California. So he was a Chicano that grew up in the barrio. Obviously he grew up seeing, the street life and for what it is. He himself, as far as I know, he was never from the streets, right? But he grew up obviously in in that area, around those type of people in that environment. But he was always, somebody who was like an artist, right? Somebody who, worked on his drawing skills and stuff like that, right? To the point where when he was still, younger, he actually had a comic book. He actually drew a comic book that he just, messed around with just for fun, right? I think it was called The Adventures of Chico Loco or something like that, right? That was based off about him and his homies, his actual homies, right? That he knew, right? And then he ended up sending the comic strip to Lowrider magazine, and Lowrider magazine being right there in San Jose, so Northern California as well. Ended up publishing, his comic, right? So it grew a fan base, right? The homies, his characters that he designed, right? To the point where, it got a buzz, right? So him and his wife, started, selling shirts, right? He would draw his homie characters on t-shirts, go to swap meets, and his hustle game was real, bro. He's somebody that took his dream and made it actually happen, right? Somebody that came out of the gutter, a bad predicament, a Chicano. So, you already have all the odds, stacked against you, all the stereotype and all the, people, doubting you and your motives and all that. And yeah, he made something happen out of this. He created his company, his image, his, something that's well recognized. It's been featured in movies. It's been books, comics, video games. He even has a video game, the homies video game for the Nintendo DS. Clothing, and like I said, the most, one that sells the most is the figurines. You would find them in all the quarter machines, and all the, Southern California and all the, where you have Chicanos, right? All the areas where there's raza, you go to the little quarter machines, you would see the little homie figurines right there. And the homie figurines were based off of, people that he actually knew, his actual homies, So, people would collect them and they had a big buzz. Now, me, myself, growing up, I was never into the homies. I never collected them. To be honest with you, I never even paid attention to it. By that time when the, homies came out, because they came out like roughly like in like 1998, excuse me, roughly around that time, we were already in the streets gangbanging, and we weren't, worried about this or prioritizing this or even, focusing on that, right? We were too busy and wrapped in the street life, right? And I didn't know no homies that collected them either, right? Because like I said, we were too busy, doing other stuff to, focus on, this type of stuff, right? But it had a fan base, right? People, out there collect them, right? You can still get them, so they're collectibles, right? So he grew his empire, bro. Like I said, it branched off into different other spin-offs as well. He has different spin-off figurines, Funko Pops or Big Heads or whatever the hell they're called, right? So the individual made his dream happen, bro, and that he had backlash, and pushback when he, threw out the homies out there, right? LAPD and a few other, organizations didn't like the fact that he was producing, these type of figurines, right? They felt like he was promoting the gangster life. They felt like he was glamorizing it, that kids would get the wrong idea, from these figurines, right? And, like he has said in the interview, that's crazy because that was never his intentions. Like he never even, that idea never even, crossed his mind, like promoting gangster life. He literally was just drawing and expressing on everything, everyday life that he experiences, stuff that he sees. You know what I mean? His life, his friends. Other people might see, cholos and stuff like that. But like I said, he sees people that he grew up with. He sees just, them for who they are and not trying to judge them or, assume stuff about them, right? Um, as a matter of fact, when the pushback happened, right, and, stores started removing them from their, stores, because of the negativity that it was getting. He decided to create backstories for each homie, right? Pushing more of a positive message, right? All the homies have a backstory to them. You can find them on his website, the homie's website, and you get the backstory of all the characters, right? Because he wrote a backstory. And like I said, he actually drew them off of real people he actually knew, right? So they're his actual, friends or whatever. And even brothers. um, So, you could go look at the backstory. So with the backstories now and the more the positive, message and stuff like that, it got people, to put them back in on shelves, right? And the media's biggest mistake was trying to ban them. Because you know what happens when you try to ban something? That as soon as you try to ban it, everybody now wants it. Everybody wants it. What? Something that they don't want us to have? Shit. Point me to it. I don't even fuck what it is. I want it now. That always tends to happen, right? So the fact that they were trying to ban this only pushed people to get, more intrigued about these, figurines, right? And actually go and try to collect them all, and it was getting a lot of publicity because of that. And the more publicity, the better for him, right? And like I said, you can look at it, however you want, whether it's a negative view or a positive view, however, right? But the thing is that was never his intentions, was not to promote gangster lifestyle or nothing like that. He was just promoting the Chicano culture that he grew up seeing, right? In the area where he grew up, right? The lowrider scene, lowrider magazine, the Chicano culture, because the Chicano culture and the gangster culture is two different things. It's not the same thing. Even though, yes, these individuals do look like gang members, that doesn't mean that they are gang members. Because the clothing does not make you the gangster. The fucking gang is what actually makes you the gangster. The fact that you're from a neighborhood, right? So the thing is that all these people that were judging him and his goal and his, his brand were people that didn't have no idea about the Chicano culture. They had a misunderstanding about what the Chicano culture is. They're people that talk without knowing. You know what I'm saying? Because shit, there's a lot of figurines out there and a lot of shit that's negative that people promote. Like if it's nothing, like they don't have no problem with it. You got Freddy Krueger figurines, and he was a pedophile that would murder people. So what? Kids want to now grow up to be pedophiles and murdering people? But what I'm saying is that you can say that for a lot of the toys that are out there, right? The individual was just like I said. He was just expressing about what he grew up seeing and his friends and environment. That he took pride in. You know what I mean? Because even though you are coming out of rough areas and these, there's drugs and gangs and violence and all that, it's still, nonetheless, it's still your stomping grounds. It's still your roots. It's still your home. It's still your foundation. You know what I mean? And people take pride in that, right? And like I said, he took something negative and turned it into a positive. You know what I mean? Because like I said, he has, his company grew up to be, fucking video games and clothing and, he's even got children's books. And like I said, he sold more than 1 million figurines and all throughout over the states and world, bro. They even got them in fucking the Philippines and all that shit. That's crazy, bro. This is just, some Chicano coming out of Northern California, homie. In the barrio. So who would have thought that he actually made his dream actually happen? He didn't let people, fucking put him down and second think his talents and himself. Nah, he's grinded. And like I said, it was a tough battle because you had pushback and there was even financial bumps in his journey. But at the end of the day, hey, he made something happen because it's been featured in movies, like I said, music videos, part of like pop culture. People know and recognize the homies. Like I said, I just never grew up collecting them or paying attention to this kind of stuff. But like I said, because we were too busy actually out there. But so this is, it's a trip that the individual Chicano, who actually made something of his life and, followed his dreams. And like I said, so, hey, anything could happen, bro. If you stick to it, believe in yourself and grind it out. And my boy, you can make shit happen, homie, even if you're coming out of the most hardest and toughest environments and situations. You know what I mean? Don't give up on yourself. And like I said, he's a perfect example of somebody that could come out of the struggle and build something for himself. Instead of being, another person out there selling drugs and shit like that. So this is a pretty cool, story of a Chicano that actually came out of and made something of himself. But what do you guys think? Did you guys collect them? Or, what are your thoughts on the whole homies, figurines and all that? Let me know in the comments. If Shadow, we out.